This won't be a sermon, this will be a truth-telling session, a wake-up call, a plea for conscience and courage. And yes, a motivational charge aimed at both the Muslim world and humanity at large. Why is it that in every corner of social media, in every gathering, every sermon, every protest, we keep asking the same question over and over again? Asterisk, why isn't Allah helping Palestine? Asterisk, but here's the uncomfortable truth that no one wants to confront. Maybe, just maybe, Allah is waiting for you to help Palestine first. Maybe the real question is not why Allah isn't doing anything, but why you aren't You want divine help, then earn it. That's not just faith, that's common sense, that's justice. That's how the world works, and frankly, it's how it's always worked. Let's cut the sentiment and go straight to the reality. You cannot expect miracles while you sleepwalk through the massacre of an entire people. The Palestinian crisis is not a Netflix episode for you to feel sad about and scroll past. It's not some distant news item. It's your test your opportunity to either rise in dignity or drown in apathy And the fact is, most of us are hiding behind hashtags, sitting in comfort, waiting for divine thunder to strike while children scream under rubble. That's not faith, that's fantasy. Allah has given you everything. Your voice, your wealth, your time, your platform. He doesn't need to act you do. You think Allah isn't watching, He is. And maybe His silence is His loudest message, where are you? It's easy to cry out for help from above while your feet are glued to the ground. It's easy to pray for change while you do nothing to change yourself. Yes, raise your hands to the sky. But ask yourself, what are those same hands doing when they come back down? Are they holding the line? Are they helping the victims? Are they building movements, donating to causes, defending the innocent with relentless action? Or are they just going back to swiping screens and stirring tea? People keep waiting for angels to descend. Well, newsflash, maybe the miracle Palestine needs isn't going to come from the sky. Maybe it's meant to come through you Through the journalist who exposes the truth, through the businessman who funds the aid, through the protester who refuses to sit down, through the leader who chooses courage over comfort. That is how divine help works. It works through people. Through courage, through unity, through sacrifice. And here's the part nobody likes to hear, because it hurts. The Ummah is sleeping, collectively, emotionally, morally. We've gone numb, we've romanticized victimhood and outsourced our responsibility to Allah Himself. That is not the religion of Muhammad Bah. That is not the Islam that shook empires and changed civilizations. That is not the spirit of Badr, of Karbala, of Salahuddin. Those were not passive people waiting for miracles. They were the miracles They didn't ask, where is Allah? They acted, they fought, they bled, and through them Allah's help arrived. Look in the mirror, ask yourself, what have you done today? Truly done for Palestine, shared a post. Felt guilty, whispered a prayer before bed. That's not enough, not now. Not when babies are being pulled from the rubble. Not when journalists are being targeted for telling the truth. Not when families are being wiped out and generations erased. If you have a beating heart and any semblance of a conscience, you should feel a fire under your feet, not a pillow under your head. We don't need more tears. We need backbones We need people who are tired of being tired, who are done watching, who are ready to act, not later, not after some imagined divine intervention, now, because maybe Allah isn't late. Maybe we are, Maybe his help has always been there waiting for us to stop tweeting and start moving, waiting for us to act like the Ummah we claim to be. And until we do, until we rise as one, until we shake the heavens with our unity and the earth with our resistance, don't you dare question where Allah is. Because he's exactly where he has always been. The real question is, ***, where are you? ***, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The scandal that no one wants to admit, but everyone sees. The one that simmers under every headline, every bombing, every funeral procession that unfolds in Gaza. ***, where are the leaders of the Muslim world? I'm not talking about your average citizens. I'm not even talking about the masses who march and chant and cry. I'm talking about the ones who sit in palaces, behind marble desks, flying in private jets, sipping imported coffee, issuing carefully sanitized press statements while children are slaughtered in Palestine. Where are they? And more importantly, ***, what the hell are they doing? ***, let's stop pretending this is a geopolitical issue that's just too complex to fix. That's the excuse cowards use when they don't want to take responsibility. These leaders, we know who they are, command vast oil wealth, possess some of the most powerful militaries in the world, and claim to represent the faith of nearly 2 billion Muslims. Yet when Gaza burns, they whisper. When Al-Aqsa is desecrated, they look away. When mothers bury their children under Israeli airstrikes, they offer condolences instead of action. Tell me, how do you sleep at night when your silence costs lives? This isn't diplomacy, it's betrayal. This isn't neutrality, it's complicity. We need to stop dressing up cowardice as caution. Let me be clear, real leadership doesn't cower behind foreign policy memos and appeasement deals. Real leadership stands up when the world sits down. Real leadership says, ***, if our people are dying, we will not sit silently for the sake of our economy, alliances, or image. ***, what we have today are not leaders. They are caretakers of comfort, managers of their own legacies, obsessed with being liked in global circles while being loathed by their own people. Here's a bitter truth for you. Palestine is not just bleeding because of foreign aggression, it's bleeding because of *** regional abandonment, ***. These leaders love quoting the Quran when it suits them, love staging elaborate Islamic conferences, love branding themselves as defenders of Islam until it actually demands a cost. Then suddenly, it's all about restraint, about timing, about being strategic. Do you know what strategy looks like to the mother holding her dead child in a white shroud? Nothing. It looks like betrayal. And don't talk to me about donations and aid convoys when you're signing billion-dollar arms deals with the very governments enabling this horror. Don't boast about humanitarian relief while you block activists, silence journalists, and arrest protesters in your own countries for daring to speak out. Don't insult our intelligence. The world is watching, and so is history, and neither will forget this silence. Neither will forgive this moral collapse at the highest levels. What's worse is the hypocrisy. When it's time to show up for summits, ribbon cuttings, and red carpets, they are front and center. But when the call is for justice, for accountability, for actual resistance, they vanish. How convenient. We are dealing with a crisis that's not just physical but moral. It's the death of courage in the corridors of power. The erosion of principle in favor of political calculus. It is, quite simply, a shameful chapter in our time. But here's the thing, their failure is not just their own. It reflects back on all of us, because power unchecked becomes arrogance. And arrogance thrives in silence. We have let these leaders become comfortable in their passivity. We've stopped demanding more. We've accepted less. We've treated cowardice as wisdom and compromise as peace. That's how injustice wins, not because evil is strong, but because those who could stop it are too scared to try. So don't ask where Allah's help is when you haven't even called out your own rulers. Don't expect miracles while your own kings and presidents shake hands with the same men responsible for the bloodshed. We talk about unity, about brotherhood, about the Ummah, yet when it matters most, the ones with power pretend they're powerless. That's not just a political failure, that's a spiritual one. That's a betrayal not just of Palestine, but of faith itself. And maybe, just maybe, Allah's silence in this moment is his loudest question. Asterisk, what will you do when your leaders won't? Asterisk, because true leadership isn't found in titles or crowns. It's found in courage, in conviction, in action. And until we demand that from those who claim to lead us, we will keep watching history repeat itself while the price is paid in blood. There comes a moment in history when silence becomes betrayal, when neutrality becomes cowardice, and when every soul is faced with a simple but terrifying question. Asterisk, what did you do when it truly mattered? Asterisk, that moment is now. And for our generation, the battlefield isn't some distant legend or ancient struggle, it's Gaza. This isn't just a war on land. It's a war on truth, on humanity, on conscience. And whether you like it or not, asterisk, asterisk, you're already a part of it. Asterisk, asterisk, because history doesn't wait for your convenience to call your name. It just watches and remembers. Every generation is tested, some by oppression, some by temptation, ours. We're being tested by the suffering of an entire people whose only crime is daring to exist. The children buried under rubble tonight, the mothers holding fragments of their babies, asterisk, they are not statistics. Asterisk, they are our trial. Our mirror and the most damning question is not what the enemy did to them, but asterisk, asterisk, what we chose not to do. Asterisk, asterisk, you can keep pretending this is someone else's fight. You can keep pretending you're just one person, too small to make a difference, but deep down, you know that's not true. Because every choice you make every time you speak out or don't, every dollar you spend or save, every platform you use or ignore, asterisk, asterisk, you're making a statement. Asterisk, asterisk, and when your children or grandchildren ask what you did when Gaza was bleeding, what will your answer be? I watched. I prayed. I moved on. That won't be enough. It never was. The reality is, the world isn't just watching Gaza. It's watching asterisk you. Asterisk, watching what kind of person you are when it's not easy to care, not safe to speak, not convenient to act. That's the measure of your humanity, because anyone can tweet when it's trending, anyone can feel sorry when the footage is raw, but who stands tall when it's uncomfortable, who keeps speaking when they're told to shut up, that's the real test. And very few are passing. You see, people love to romanticize resistance. They love the slogans, the flags, the protests until it starts costing them something. But this isn't a film. This isn't a weekend cause. This is a long, exhausting, soul-tearing reality for millions. And it won't be fixed with fleeting outrage or 15 seconds of digital grief. It will be fixed by asterisk, asterisk, a generation that refuses to be silent. Asterisk, asterisk, a generation that says, asterisk, not on our watch. Not again, not ever. Asterisk, and let's get something straight. The world didn't reach this point overnight. It got here because too many good people stayed quiet for too long. Because comfort became more valuable than conviction. Because convenience was easier than confrontation. But the test of our generation is not whether we asterisk feel asterisk for Gaza. It's whether we asterisk, asterisk fight asterisk, asterisk for it. Not with weapons, but with integrity, with persistence, with everything we've got in our hands, hearts, and voices. This isn't a call to martyrdom. It's a call to morality, to courage, to accountability. Because when you witness injustice and do nothing, you've chosen a side. Neutrality isn't noble when children are being blown apart. It's cowardice wrapped in fake diplomacy. And one day, when the smoke clears and the bodies are counted, it won't be the tyrants alone who are remembered with shame. It will be the bystanders. The ones who had a voice but didn't use it. The ones who had freedom but stayed chained by fear. So if you're waiting for someone else to fix this, stop. You are the someone. You are the generation, and if not now, when? How much more blood must spill before you move? How many more funerals must be streamed before you act? Because the enemy is relentless. The bombs don't pause. The suffering doesn't take a break, so why should you? The truth is, this test will define us, and no one escapes it. You either rise with it, or you fall under the weight of your own indifference. There is no middle, not anymore. Gaza is not just calling for help. It's calling for witnesses, for warriors, for those who will not let another page of history be written in silence. The test is here, the test is now, and whether you pass or fail, it will echo for generations. If your faith doesn't move you, then what exactly is it doing? That's not a rhetorical question. That's a challenge. Because right now, as Gaza crumbles, as babies are torn from life and homes turn to ash, we have to ask ourselves a brutal, uncomfortable, soul-shaking question. Asterisk, what is the point of faith if it doesn't lead to justice? Asterisk, what is the value of all this worship, all this preaching, all these declarations of piety if we're too afraid, too quiet, too distracted to speak up when it truly matters? We like to tell ourselves we're people of conscience, people of faith, but where is that conscience now? Where is that faith when the images are raw, when the bodies are small, when the grief is overwhelming? If your faith doesn't bring you to tears at the sight of a father digging through rubble to find his daughter's limbs, then it's not faith. It's theater, and we've had enough of theater. This isn't about religion. This is about responsibility. And if your religion has conditioned you to be passive in the face of injustice, to be neutral in the face of murder, then you haven't understood it. You've corrupted it. Because faith without justice is not righteousness, it's hypocrisy in disguise, and Gaza doesn't need any more hypocrites. We have people who cry at Quran recitations but feel nothing when the Ummah bleeds, people who perform perfect rituals but cannot utter a word of protest against oppression, people who memorize every verse about mercy and dignity but go silent when that dignity is trampled under tanks and drone strikes. Let me tell you something. Asterisk, asterisk, your silence is louder than your prayers. Asterisk, asterisk, and the world hears it. We become experts at separation. We've separated prayer from politics, spirituality from social justice, religion from reality, but the Prophet but never did that. He was not a part-time believer. He didn't clock in and out of righteousness. His faith moved him to fight, to speak, to resist, to lead. If he walked into Gaza today, he wouldn't be tweeting from a safe distance. He'd be in the front lines, asterisk, heart first, hands next. Asterisk, and yet here we are. Divorcing our beliefs from our behaviors, hiding behind religious rituals while injustice marches on unchallenged. We're living in a time where it's riskier to speak for the oppressed than to ignore them, but that risk, asterisk, that risk is where your faith is supposed to come alive. Asterisk, that's where it matters most. Not when you're safe and surrounded by applause, but when your voice is the only one in the room. That's faith. That's moral courage. That's what Gaza deserves. There is no honor in being a bystander. There's no virtue in waiting for someone else to take the hit while you stay clean. Every time you refuse to speak, to act, to even care, you become another stone in the wall that blocks justice. And don't think the world won't remember. It will, and so will the generations to come. When they look back at this era, they won't just ask what the oppressors did. They'll ask what the righteous failed to do. We often say, Allah is watching. Yes, He is. But here's a thought that should chill you to the bone. Asterisk, maybe He's watching to see how you respond to Gaza. Asterisk, maybe His help is already on the way, but through asterisk, asterisk, you. Asterisk, asterisk, and if you fail, then maybe that help never arrives, because you weren't ready to be the vessel. You weren't brave enough to carry it. And that's on you. There's no neutral ground left, not when kids are dying, not when the world is watching, not when history is writing your name into the margins. You either stand with the truth, or you side with comfort. But don't think for a second that you can sit this one out. Gaza doesn't need your pity. It doesn't need your empty prayers. It needs your courage, It needs your outrage. It needs your conviction. And if your faith can't deliver that, then it's time you asked yourself what exactly you believe in. Because in the end, when the bombs stop and the rubble settles, there will only be one question echoing through the dust and silence. Asterisk, where were you when Gaza needed you? Asterisk, and if you don't have an answer that reflects action, compassion, and moral clarity, then you weren't just absent. Asterisk, asterisk, you were complicit. Asterisk, asterisk, this won't be a sermon. This will be a truth-telling session, a wake-up call. A plea for conscience and courage, and yes, a motivational charge aimed at both the Muslim world and humanity at large. Let's stop confusing hope with inaction. Because what's happening right now across the Muslim world is not faith asterisk asterisk, it's fatal passivity disguised as patience. Asterisk asterisk, everyone's sitting around saying make duh, as if that alone will rebuild homes, remove tyrants, or shield children from missiles. Don't get me wrong, duh is powerful, incredibly powerful, but if your duh isn't turning into drive, into discipline, into actual movement, then it's not duh. It's denial, and let's not sugarcoat it. Gaza doesn't need more people sitting in air-conditioned rooms crying into their prayer rugs. Gaza needs people who pray asterisk asterisk and then rise. Asterisk asterisk, here's the bitter pill we need to swallow. Some of us are using duh as a hiding place. A spiritual excuse to avoid the cost of commitment. You say, we've done everything we can, now we wait on Allah. But you haven't done everything. You've just done the easy part. You haven't raised your voice, your wallet, your hands, or your courage. You've just raised your eyebrows at the horror and said, may Allah help them. That's not action, that's comfort disguised as concern. Faith without action is a hollow shell. Even the prophets, every single one of them asterisk asterisk prayed and then acted. Asterisk asterisk, Moses didn't just pray for the sea to split, he struck the staff. Maryam didn't just sit and wait for food, she was told to shake the palm tree. The prophet Muhammad P.B. didn't just ask for victory at Badr, he prepared, he strategized, and he stood firm on the battlefield. Prayer was the starting point, not the entire plan, and that's where we're getting it dangerously wrong. We've turned duh into a conclusion, when it was always meant to be a beginning. If you truly believe in the power of prayer, then act like your prayer has already been answered. Let it fuel your steps, fire up your speech, and shake the ground you stand on. But if your duh makes you passive, quiet, numb, then it's not real duh. It's just ritual. Gaza doesn't need ritual. Gaza needs resolve. Right now, we are facing a genocide. Not just a conflict, not just a clash of ideologies, a deliberate, ruthless campaign to erase a people from the map. And we're responding with what? Thoughts and prayers. That's not resistance. That's retreat. The truth is, some of us are more afraid of speaking out than we are of seeing more children killed. Some of us are more worried about offending the algorithm than offending our Creator through inaction. Yes, raise your hands to the sky, but then ask yourself, are your feet moving when they come back down? Are your hands building anything, supporting anyone, resisting in any way at all, or are they just wiping tears while others are wiping blood off their loved ones? Let that discomfort hit you, let it sting because it should, and don't tell me you're helpless, you're not. If you can speak, you can resist. If you can earn, you can donate. If you can think, you can strategize. If you can walk, you can march. If you can write, you can expose lies. If you can feel, then you can care deeply enough to do something. Asterisk asterisk anything asterisk asterisk beyond symbolic gestures. The world is not changed by emotions. It is changed by actions born out of emotions. Passion alone won't rebuild Palestine. Asterisk asterisk purpose will. Asterisk asterisk there is this dangerous idea that all we can do is pray and wait. That somehow action is un-Islamic, too worldly, too political. But Islam was never apolitical. It was never a religion of spectators. It was the religion of doers. And now we've become watchers, people who watch horror unfold in 4K, shake our heads, whisper a duh, and move on. If that's all we are, then we are part of the problem. not because we caused the pain, but because we allowed it to continue. So, ask yourself, are you actually praying for Palestine, or are you outsourcing the burden so you don't have to carry any of it yourself? Because prayer without sacrifice is just words, prayer without movement is just noise, and in a world this loud with injustice, silence, even spiritual silence, is complicity. You want Allah's help, then be His tool, be the reason help arrives, be the answer to someone else's duh. Otherwise, all we're doing is waiting for a miracle while doing nothing to become one.